This week we're climbing, descending and climbing again as we make our assault onto Mt Buggery, where the rocks are inviting, the trails challenging and the scenery exhilarating. We're clearing tracks, crossing creeks and cooking up a storm. But we haven't forgotten our stranded mate and we'll do whatever it takes to get him home. We have had an awesome day on the tracks, but the adventure is not over. We've got the convoy setting up and getting ready for dinner. Fingers crossed, guys, we can get Mike back on the road.
We did luckily have reception, so we were able to make an emergency call to one of the local boys and they were able to start helping us.
We were all hoping and praying that Simon and Mike would come back in the Ranger and everything would be okay.
It was raining, it was 4 degrees out there, they were welding, they were drenched.
Next thing you know, these lights come over the hill and start coming down the track and we're like, oi, they're back.
I was surprised.
We had a look at the Ranger. It wasn't a full-time fix, but it was enough obviously to get you to base camp and set up and get nice and warm because it was freezing.
Luckily for us, Daniel said he'd come back in the morning with the spare parts and give us a hand to get it functional so we could get back to Melbourne.
And that caps off a very eventful and a very exciting day one of our Strathbogie adventure.
I ended up waking up to a beautiful morning this morning.
Good morning.
I thought you were talking about my coffee.
Everyone had a pretty good night's sleep.
You feel guilty for making him feel guilty?
No, I'm going to make him feel guilty by using his credit card to pay for it. Then he'll feel really guilty.
I'm Sam, this is my little sous chef, William. I think Simon might have slept in a little bit this morning, so we're going to make a few bacon and eggs for him and the crew. This is obviously the kitchen from the Solitaire. We can run the toaster. We've got coffee being made inside for the crew as well. For our family, the majority of the cooking would be in the main kitchen outside. We'll be cooking bacon and eggs on the Weber today. I like a mix of cooking. There's induction on the kitchen itself, and if you're going to do a steak or something like that, you definitely do it out of the Weber, so we definitely bring both. That bacon is not far off. You better go wake up Simon in a minute and see if he's ready for brekkie. Simon gets 2, I reckon, to keep those muscles nice and big.
Brekkie time!
There we go, mate. Get stuck in.
Delicious, absolutely awesome. Well done, thank you very much.
No worries, mate.
Coffee's ready.
This breakfast was quick, simple and easy.
Have you ever seen anything like this? That is just fantastic. Protection from the rain, shade from the sun. This square awning is amazing. This is the Bushwhacker Square and it's like nothing else I have seen before. Bushwhacker, get onto it, Cracker-Lackin' legends.
As we left camp, we made this sharp left turn into the forest. In addition to the girls and the camper trailers, we also had to leave the poor Trek car behind. Definitely not suitable for a day of four driving.
Morning, Mike, you're in a different car?
Yes, I'm being chauffeured yet again today. It's amazing.
Let's hope the sea suckers don't make it 2 out of 2.
Well, they've purchased one car, Wes has anyway.
There it is.
We ended up finding Daniel on the track when we were heading out to Mt Buggery. He said he was happy to go back and fix the Ranger, but we thought, no, come along for the trip, enjoy the day out with us.
I did notice that he was driving a GQ Patrol and I thought to myself, well, finally now if I get stuck, I'm going to have someone that can get me out.
So where is the new tracks leading us today, James?
We are heading up towards the Street Road, cutting onto A10 and then heading up to Mt Buggery.
Coming outside with the new tracks, we're coming up the Street Road up into the A10 going fast now, coming up the top, and we're up at the top and it's Mt Buggery all the way for the view over the A10, back down to the Street Road and back down to camp.
That's our day in a nutshell.
Really, really pretty on the way to Mt Buggery.
There was overhanging trees.
Very green, moss everywhere.
The ride was a lot smoother with Steph than it was me the day before. She's a great driver, really good at using the low gears and understanding when to allow the vehicle to do a lot of the work for you, as opposed to someone who's never done it before trying to use the gas pedal and the brake.
couple of people have mentioned it before, Sam, but this is actually the edge of the Victorian High Country.
It definitely feels like it, mate. This doesn't feel like anything in South Australia.
Well, hopefully we're going to finish today with another epic climb up Mt Buggery and some good views.
I'm looking forward to it, mate, especially with no trailer.
So after doing some rolling of ups and downs, we get to a point where it was just a really steady incline for quite a while.
And it was one of those ones where you really pulled back into the back of your seat. You're pretty much sitting there enjoying the ride. I like to keep the radio in use for emergency situations and directions, but there are a couple of jokers in the crew.
And Mike, how's young Stephanie going?
Well, she's going well. She's got a very well set up vehicle. She's got the right attitude. She has probably the worst co-driver ever with her. Like, how does someone come from the whole way across the world and just break stuff continuously?
We reviewed the footage last night and he broke the tie rod rack end, then he lifted a wheel spectacular in the air and then came down with a crunch on the opposite side, which he popped the bead off.
Yeah, and Simon, there's a few more things you haven't seen yet. So he's dented my side steps, he's dented my rear toolbox, he destroyed my rim. My rim's finished in the front, like it's cactus.
I heard he also farted on your pillow.
On some of these bigger inclines, we started hearing Simon whinging on the radio that, oh, my vehicle needs a bit more power, you know, starting to struggle up it.
Andrew, if you've got anything you can do for this Colorado 7, now's the time to do it.
Now I thought to myself, it's like, yeah, it's Colorado. He said, no, there's an opportunity here for us to increase the power without any tools of any kind. We can do it. I said, how are you going to do that?
Luckily, we actually had a fix for it. We did have a chip suited perfectly for his car, just out of nowhere, you know, just carrying it in the D-Max. Take the engine cover off and take the plugs off, and we started putting the chip on. Alrighty, the chip's all plugged in at the rail. You've got your plug, and as simple as plug it in here. Make sure those dowels click on, and you can just tuck it down somewhere nice and neat so it doesn't get in the way. We'll cable tie it down there. You're done. They're a great thing to have. You've got fuel efficiency benefits, you've got torque and power, and even throttle response. It's a big thing with chips. Once the chip was plugged in, the bonnet was shut, the cars started, and we were off on convoy again, venturing to the Mt Buggery lookout.
All right, keep the cars nice and tight together as we come around this corner. Watch the big rock on the left at the entry. Hug the shrubbery, and we're turning hard right. Make sure you take a beautiful look at the stunning scenery out to the left. But we're going skywards, guys. Right hand down, and we're driving to the top.
Chuck just put his pedal to the metal because he didn't care because he doesn't own the car.
Definitely laying back in your seat, and all you can see is sky, and you just hope that there's not someone parked right there.
Wow, look at that view! It's fun to be a passenger. That was a surprise.
I didn't see that. I was driving towards London.
And then we get up to the top of this beautiful lookout, which was honestly prettier than Mount Separation, I think.
Got up to the top, it's an absolutely amazing view looking out over the valleys. You can see the farms in the distance.
It was stunning on the top of the hill. Yeah, absolutely stunning.
Blew our hair back. It was amazing.
Looking down at what was in front of us, the angle was incredible.
I thought it was just to take pictures.
And Simon said, absolutely not, we're going down this in all the vehicles.
Unbeknownst to me, I'm like right in front of the descent. And so Simon's like, all right, we're going down there, Sam, and you're first.
Sucked in.
Seatbelt's on.
All right, Will, you ready?
Those tracks are character testing, I think. They seem a little bit sketchy because usually when you're doing scary tracks, you're in big ruts, but there's lots of trees around you. So you might damage the car, but you're not going to go anywhere. But my fear with these is that it's such a big open boulder that with a cliff edge that realistically a wrong turn could mean that you could roll off the edge and keep going.
I think Wes could have done that.
Descending from Mt Buggery, instead of going down the same way that we came up, there's actually another track sort of off to the left, so you can kind of do a loop. So go up and then go down a different way, and that was really tight.
Oh yeah, this is a tricky exit.
Probably the tightest part of the day, it was this left-hand corner with a step down at the same time. You're trying to weave the car around one tree, don't hit it on a tree on the other side.
How's that big rock? Oh, I can see it in my camera.
You could definitely do some damage on that bit if you were not careful enough.
I thought the descent would be easy, but descent was quite challenging actually.
Yeah, you gotta watch your rocks here.
I don't see from where I'm at, so help me out there.
Yeah, keep coming.
Am I gonna make it?
Go that way a little bit still.
We got it, we got it.
A little bit tight with some of the trees, but not too bad. Very pleasant drive.
Yeah, go right over to you and you'll be fine on my side, I think.
For us that had rooftops, we sort of had these trees overhanging, but at the same time, the ground is doing the opposite, so you ended up leaning towards the trees. So myself and the D-Max were centimetres off. You can see other people have hit those trees in those same spots.
A bit tight there, Seth. Watch the tent.
I was watching your tent.
I was puckering.
I think at one point I almost lost the GoPro on the side of my car because it was so tight.
So that was a bit of a technical drive down with the brain working, and then off the end and turn left onto the gravel road.
Oftentimes I thought the auto body shops here in Australia must be doing pretty well for themselves. A lot of branches that were hanging over, so you heard this scratching, the scraping.
How's that rock up in there, the big round one?
I feel like we're in Narnia. I love all the ones that are just moss dripping off of them.
The convoy comes to an abrupt halt. And I jump on the radar and I say, "What's up?" There's a big log across the track. We can't get through. We may need a chainsaw or two.
There was a couple of people that had definitely made their own chicken track around the side of it. To be honest, I'm not sure that's the right thing to do. If you're in an emergency, it's different, but at some point, someone has to clear the track.
But Simon said, no, this is what we do here in Australia. We're going to do the right thing. We're going to clear the path for anyone that comes in behind us.
It was awesome. So Simon just brought the Colorado in, positioned it just nicely.
Got the winch out, hooked it up onto the big tree trunk.
The weirdest part about this was that the tree had already been cut all the way through, but for some reason they weren't able to move it off the track.
We were winching the log and it kind of got jammed into the dirt, and Simon had called for the shovel.
So we went and grabbed our Seasucker one. It mounts anywhere in any position, and within 2 or 3 seconds you have that popped off.
A lot of the vehicles are built for this and are used every day for this purpose, but there's 2 vehicles that are considered high-end luxury cars, the 300 included. So it's nice to have the versatility and the ability to quickly place things that you need on a trail to get yourself out of a jam and not permanently mount anything to a vehicle that you're daily driving in more of a city type environment.
Within about 20 short minutes, we moved the tree off the track and we were on our way.
It wasn't far from there, back to camp.
So we got right to work trying to fix the Ranger.
Yesterday at the top of the mountain, the team did an awesome job at getting the tie rod welded together enough so that we could get it back to camp. But we've still got a lot more work to do so that it can get out of the forest.
I knew I had to do whatever it took to try to fix this problem because it was my fault we were in it to begin with. So whatever Simon or Mike told me to do, they said jump, I said how high.
The first challenge was using the rattle gun to take the lug nuts off the wheel. Something was amiss. It just wasn't loosening. And to his credit, he did notice that something was amiss.
Keep going?
We have a closer look, and he's used the wrong sized socket on the nuts, and he's been able to thread every single one of them. There's 6 lug nuts.
I don't know if that's in focus or whatever. There you go. Really good.
Simon's able to manually break the lug nuts off, and he's able to unscrew them. Thankfully, because if you can't get the wheel off, that's it. You need a tow truck.
Things are looking up. We've got the wheel off.
Remove that tie rod from the steering rack.
We've got the spare part ready to replace the tie rod.
We hold up the old tie rod and we hold up the replacement.
And the threads were a different size. So here I am, hoping that everything's gonna go smooth on day 2. We're gonna get out of the jam, and another curveball in the road.
Another circle jerk. We just start over again.
Poor Wes. I'm assuming Wes is on the parts run.
I reckon the largest punching bag in all of Australia.
Yeah. Yeah.
2 hours later.
We got back to camp. Fortunately for us, we managed to get one of the correct parts and the other one we salvaged from the original.
We asked Daniel how long it would take. He said 20 minutes to swap out the part. Unfortunately, we could times that by 3. The trouble that we had was with the rubber boot, trying to get it over the springs on the tie rod. It took us an awful long time in the dark. I got on my back and I was going to be under there as long as it took to fix it.
With the Jackery unit powering the bushwhacker lights, we were hard at it on the tools and working steadily to get Mike mobile again. For James though, it was the perfect time to slip away.
Thanks for the great trip again, as always.
Great meeting you.
Good to meet you, man.
Thanks for the 30-second ride that you gave me.
Yeah, well, it was the ride of your life.
All in all, had a great time, great group of people, great banter. The forest really turned it on for us. The weather was beautiful. Great trip away in the Strathbogies.
With James heading for his warm bed, the hard work continued.
We put Wes on the tools. We had him with Simon. He's never changed a tyre in his life, let alone held a spanner.
Whilst Wes was struggling to know which end of the tools he should even hold, he'd also lost one of the lug nuts.
Feeling quite accomplished after the debacle yesterday. There's just a tad bit of a relief right now. I had a big smile on my face. I said, oh, finally, the Ranger's fixed. We can drive out of here safely.
I really don't want to give Wes any credit. He needs to feel guilty. There's no forgiveness. I'm going to break his car when I go to America.
Huge weight off my shoulders. Enjoyed the rest of the night, enjoyed the fire, got a great night's sleep, and here we are, day 3.
So I ended up waking up to the sun out, no clouds around, beautiful morning.
Perfection.
Oh.
There should be some soy in the water.
I'm helping.
No pressure. This could be Simon's breakfast or not on the ground. So are you ready?
Hey!
There we go.
Wow.
We'd enjoyed another amazing weekend, being challenged by the Strathbogie Ranges. And it was time to break camp, say our goodbyes and head for home. But I had one more track in mind and couldn't resist the chance of having one last run with this awesome crew.
As usual, the Strathbogie, beautiful, green, lush, really turned it on for our American friends. Great to see Chuck and Wes actually having a go. Maybe breaking my car wasn't the best thing for him, but you know, it's all right, he'll pay. He's got another week and a half with me.
Oh, no! Would you say this trip was the most nervous you've ever been behind the wheel of a vehicle?
Well, sure. That one descent down and back up was the best thing I've ever done in the car. As soon as I finished, I said, that's the best drive I've ever had in my life.
You gotta hold your breath and do it.
It's been a great trip. Coming from about 6.5 hours away, it's definitely really opens my eyes up. So I should actually start looking out of the area.
Strathbogies are definitely a little hidden gem. I'd never heard of them before this trip, but it's absolutely quite stunning. My favourite point of the whole weekend, when you've been stuck and you haven't got out, and then there's that moment where you know you're actually getting out. Awesome.
It's always a bit of a gamble going out camping with a bunch of people that you don't know, but the best part is that they are all your best mates by the end of it. I had a couple of passengers, friends at offline campers. I had Wes in the car with me as well, keeping me company.
There's 2 things in life I'm really good at. 4-wheel driving and throwing the footy.
You were not really good at four-wheel driving, Wes. It's always just so nice that everyone just gets along and has a really good time out here.
For me, my favorite part is camaraderie, the jokes.
Brilliant trip. It's been great to meet some new people.
Been a great trip. We're looking forward to the next one.